This video will be just me rambling about very niche ARMY stuff, so I wouldn't recommend this video to non-ARMYs or making reactions to it or expecting explanations. These are just my thoughts about recent events happening within the ARMY fandom. Since the last 4 younger members started their military service, there has been a lot of chaos in the fandom. Something big and bad has happened pretty much every single week. Some ARMYs made a case study, and just so we can have an idea, for one very dumb quote-unquote scandal, so dumb that it was made fun of in a mainstream late-night show, for that one thing, South Korean media has made more than 270,000 hate and defamatory articles. But there has been so much more than that one thing for the past 10 months. You've probably heard the buzzwords scandal, executives, smear campaigns, and overall documented plane attacks against BTS, against artists related to BTS, or against other K-pop groups. These, plus the fact that other bad things are happening in the overall K-pop world, makes it really a horrible time to be ARMY or a K-pop fan. I'm asked to talk about these things time and time again, and sometimes I really want to, but I don't think I can. I explained a little of my thought process in a comment section some time ago. My main point is that so many things are happening week after week, and there are updates pretty much every single day, and I cannot give an opinion on a controversial ongoing event without making a mistake, being misinformed, or not getting the overall picture, because there are so many rumors and confirmed lies being broadcasted on South Korean national television. These rumors and lies are then translated and viewed millions of times on K-pop TikTok and YouTube. So to make a video about something, I have to wait a couple of weeks to not rush to conclusions. But by the time I collect my ideas and make a video, the controversy is over. Nobody cares about the truth, so they move on to the next quote-unquote scandal. I may even get comments like, why are you bringing this up now when that thing is over and more important things are happening? Why are you talking about that and not this? It's obvious you care more about this than that. And I feel like no matter what I or any ARMYs do, we are going to end up losing. That was the entire plan of certain people when BTS started their military service. Now, as ARMYs, we can do two things. We can pay attention to everything that's happening, or we can ignore and live in peace. Here's what can go wrong in both situations. The bad thing about paying attention and understanding the smear campaigns is that we will get mad and frustrated because it's us against organized movements by powerful people. So we're going to fight between each other because we're not doing our best and we're not being organized. So we blame. We blame everyone and ourselves as a fandom. So in theory, the best thing we can do is not pay attention and simply ignore the hate. However, paying attention is important. I don't think new ARMYs understand how important loud fan support is in the K-pop industry. You need to understand that the Korean entertainment industry is not like the mainstream entertainment industry. An idol can literally do nothing wrong and then be the victims of a smear campaign, and their career is over. You need to understand that Korean labels will drop an innocent idol because a small group of people demanded them to. Korean TV networks will ban and blacklist idols if they are part of a controversy, even when they are the victims. You've probably watched those BTS hardship videos and thought, wow, BTS really went through a lot and survived it all. But you need to understand that BTS survived it all because ARMYs are crazy responsive. BTS were pushed to disband a million times, but they didn't because despite being blacklisted and banned and accused, ARMY's support was so loud. I'm talking crazy loud, louder than the biggest fandoms at the time. If we ignore and do nothing, we become one K-pop fandom more. And no group is able to really survive and thrive at the level of BTS with just a K-pop fandom. Of course, BTS's situation is different now. The world sees them as a mainstream group and they don't care about every silly accusation. The fear is not about that. The fear is not about their label dropping them or Korean TV networks banning them. BTS doesn't really need them anymore. The fear is about the ways in which this perception of BTS in the place where they live can affect their mental health and well-being. Because sure, their label may be aware of the money BTS can bring and keep them forever, or any other label will literally sell all their groups just to sign BTS. But what about BTS's willingness to continue? How can they be motivated to make music when they and their families are harassed by the media and their fandom is mostly silent? the small group BTS from 2013, the big group BTS from 2018, and the biggest group in the world right now all need a loud fandom. So ignoring is simply not an option. We ignore there's no BTS. There has to be loud support. However, there's the other side. If we pay attention to every single thing that's happening in order to show our support the best way we can, we're almost definitely going to be in a negative state of mind as a fandom. I personally find it unbearable. There are so many nasty, vile lies about BTS being shared hundreds of thousands of times by journalists, and then they are deleted or retracted without saying sorry or anything. So much damage being done. This environment is very uninviting even for the most army of armies. So of course a lot of fans are tired and they are pretty much waiting for the OT7 comeback. Because let's remember that at the end of the day, this is a music fandom. Most of us didn't sign up for any of this. We like the music and the artist. End of the story. So as a fandom, we can totally talk about who is in the right, who is to blame, what the label is doing or not doing, or which fan bases stayed during the most difficult times. But today, I want to analyze things in a different way. I see a lot of comments joking about how we used to be a proper nation, and the serious comments say things like, we used to be the most organized fandom in the world. But there is something that I feel like the most dedicated armies are not seeing, maybe because of the frustration. It's time to be honest and realistic while also staying calm and positive. When it comes to these situations, I see two types of armies: the core fandom and the casual armies. As much as we want the millions of fans to be part of the core fandom, the majority are casual armies. Even the majority watching this very niche army video are casual armies. Let me explain my theory. This is just the way I notice things happening. Armies who are part of the core fandom are probably a couple of thousand max in the entire world. These armies organize and mobilize all fandom projects, votings, and fandom guides. And the core fandom also participates in the fandom projects. But to organize or even be aware of the fandom projects before they happen, the core fandom has to pay attention to everything that's happening and understand and inform others and directly receive the rejection by the casual armies. Because of this, the core fandom is either on hiatus, on panic mode, sad, or angry. This creates an even more uninviting fandom. Uninviting for who? For casual armies. Casual armies are the majority of the fandom. I'm not talking about the general public or K-pop fans who listen to BTS occasionally. I'm talking about real armies who actually love and listen to BTS. These armies follow them and like all of their content. These are the millions of armies who buy their albums and fill their stadium tours. However, these millions of armies are not going to vote for music shows. They are not going to stream correctly, and they are mostly unaware of everything that's happening. But they do genuinely love BTS. So I personally believe that the core fandom needs to understand and accept two things. First, most armies are casual armies. And second, the core fandom needs to understand that we need the casual armies as much as we need the core fandom. With just the core fandom, there are simply no results. The core fandom is really, really small. Like I said, it's probably a couple of thousand people in the entire world. The casual armies, on the other hand, are the millions we see in the records. But with just the casual armies, I think BTS wouldn't even come back in 2025. With just them, BTS would be just another boy band who disbanded after 7 years, especially after all these smear campaigns. Both parts of the fandom are needed. So in my personal opinion, the problem is not the smear campaigns working with most armies. The problem is the smear campaigns affecting the excitement and happiness of the core fandom. The core fandom is rightfully so very, very angry. Most, if not all, big accounts are angry at this executive and this journalist and this fandom, and they are yelling at armies because they are not voting and not sending emails and not doing anything. And I share the sentiment because I also understand the consequences of being unresponsive to a smear campaign in South Korea. But I also need us to understand that the majority of armies who are casual armies just follow the happy things. You cannot convince casual armies to become part of the core fandom and follow the orders of the core fandom when they are not pleasant. I know we love our streaming goals, guides, plans, and studies, but they don't care. Casual armies follow the noise. If BTS does a lot of promotions like performances and interviews and TikToks and stuff like that, casual armies consume it. But if BTS is not promoting in every mainstream award show and TV show, and the core fandom is being more responsive to the smear campaign than hyping up the content that we are getting, then the casual armies don't find the sense of the happy army community, and they don't follow the noise because there's no happy noise. There has to be excitement for a project, and sadly, the smear campaigns are destroying the excitement. So if you're one of the armies who stays updated with BTS news and you're frustrated at the smear campaigns and the lack of response from the majority of armies, congratulations, you are probably part of the core fandom. Now, I know it's hard, but I think most armies respond to happy and exciting comments. I'm sorry, but a string harder, or you hate BTS, or you hate the Hyunline, or you hate this member, or you are all useless is not going to convince anybody. Casual armies feed off from good energy and good vibes, and they are the ones who are millions. So for creators or anyone who can make content, make edits for every platform with the new songs. And if there is one singular video promoting that song, then make 20 clips of that one video. If you're not an editor, you can still clip any new or even old interview and put the song as the background sound. I've seen K-pop songs trend on YouTube after editors use them in random K-pop fan moments shorts, including shorts of BTS's old interviews. So do this for clips of BTS or any other celebrity or TV show or movie you want to. Bring back silly stuff like Crazy for Myself or random silly edits and mashups of songs. If you don't want to make content, then go to the sound and engage. If there's only 10 people using the sound, then engage with those 10. Like, comment, repost, laugh, have fun, and make more noise, positive noise. I've seen that on TikTok, for example, comments that mention things like stream or goals or guide or anything technical is usually ignored. It's better to uplift the mood, because this cannot be the attitude of the fandom for the next 8 months. We had a lot of new pre-recorded content this year, and we're going to get new songs and interviews and different stuff from Jin and J-Hope, and we just need to be louder. If you're into the guides and predictions and numbers like I am, then that's awesome. But again, don't treat casual armies like they are the core fandom. They cannot take the negativity and they will run away. So there are approximately 8 months left to see all the BTS members together as a group once again. And I don't want to see the core fandom being more and more miserable with the smear campaigns that, I'm sorry, will definitely continue. Of course, I'm not saying to ignore them. I just explained why we shouldn't. But I do think that we need to make the army excitement louder. I don't even want to talk about the specifics of every single smear campaign because that is not the point of this video. But there was a protest by BTS haters at BTS's building. I wouldn't even call it a protest. This was a weird, organized threat event. This lasted for 3 days. But surprisingly, the media didn't make their comment thousands of news articles because armies were there making a counter-protest with food, music, and big army signs. And the reporters could not take pictures of the hate without showing the support. So there were no articles about it. I think we need to analyze this entire picture deeply. The core fandom is right when they say that ignoring won't work. We cannot pretend like hundreds of thousands of hateful articles don't exist. We cannot pretend like BTS doesn't see all of this when their families are harassed, when the hate is outside of their building, and when they have televisions they can watch. But the best response is being louder. Like those armies that day, turn up the volume of the music. So every army is happy to follow the sound.